Hello, everyone, and welcome to ADC Sports Dallas Primetime. It is officially draft week. Last night, I was a little bit hesitant to call it that because it was Sunday, but now it is Monday, April the 25th, and it is officially draft week. We are 3 days away from the 2022 NFL Draft. Tonight, we'll talk about a specific player that I would have never imagined that we were going to discuss on Primetime because I would have never guessed that the Cowboys would be linked to Oregon pass rusher Kayvon Thibodeaux. We will talk about that later on the show. We will also talk about my first and only mock draft of the year. This is what I've been doing for 3 years now. I put together a mock draft and throw it out until the week of the NFL draft. Now, it's a little bit of a combination of things. It's a little bit of what I would do, what we have been hearing as NFL fans for a while now, and of course, a little bit of what teams need and their particular schemes and how they like to do things. So we'll talk about that and the Cowboys' 24th overall pick in my mock. So let me shout out some of you guys here. Let's see. Samuel, thank you for being here. Toxic Tom. Let's see who else is around. Big Felipe, what is up? Welcome to the show. Lumen, as always, representing Titans Nation and claiming that he is the third on the like button. And by the way, do me a favor and hit the like button. If you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter, let your friends know about ADC Sports Dallas Primetime by liking and sharing the video. What is up, Joe? As always, watching from Italy. John tuning in from New York. Asian Persuasion saying, can we see you and Will do a 40 time? I don't know why, but I feel like I would probably get smoked because you know what? I have not done a lot of exercise since I tore my ACL in 2015. So that is right. That is not an excuse anymore, but I never went through proper rehab. Topic for another day, maybe. Thank you guys for tuning into the show. Let's get this one started officially. Here we go. What is up, everyone? Welcome to ADC Sports Dallas Primetime. I'm Mauricio Rodríguez, your host every Sunday through Thursday night here on Dallas On Demand Sports Talk Network. Primetime, as always, brought to you by our friends over at freemanmazda.net. We will talk more about them on the ride of the week in a few moments here on the show. But welcome. Thank you for tuning in. I hope that you guys are having a fantastic start to your week. It is Monday, and not any Monday. No. It is draft week. We are 3 days away from the 2022 NFL Draft. Countless days, months, weeks of NFL Draft content to finally get to the real thing on Thursday night. No more mocks, no more rumors. We are 3 days away from learning the real thing. And tonight, we woke up with a pretty unexpected rumor. At least I was not expecting it, and we will discuss it at length because Albert Breer from Sports Illustrated shared the rumor that the Cowboys were actually interested in trading up. We will get to that in a few moments here on the show. Thank you for being here. Smash the like button. Share the show. Shout out to the podcast audience, always tuning in via iTunes, via Spotify. If you ever miss the show live, remember that you can get the audio version over in your favorite podcast platform. What is up, everyone? Let's get to the news right away because this is from Albert Breer over at sportsillustrated.com. He always does a good job putting together some good information on Sports Illustrated regarding the Cowboys and, the entire NFL. And this time he put together the rumor or well, the paragraph on the Cowboys shared the rumor that the Cowboys were interested in trading up. And specifically, Albert Breer mentions Oregon edge rusher Kayvon Thibodeau. So let me know in the chat, first and foremost, do you guys believe or not believe this particular rumor on the Cowboys trading up for Kayvon Thibodeau? Because this is a big-time playmaker. Jose Christian says, you add Thibodeau, it will make the defense elite. It's a big-time player that we're talking about here. And Albert Breer is not a guy making up stuff. Like, this is a long-time NFL reporter that has an entire career of reliable sources. Now, this is the NFL draft, however, and this is different. But here's what Albert Breer wrote over at ADC Sports Dallas, at sportsillustrated.com. Albert Breer is not with us, excuse me for that. What you need to know. Albert wrote, Dallas could move up. I heard at one point last week that their radar was up for Thibodeau potentially sliding. But more likely would be the team sticking here, talking about 24th, and taking either a traditional off-ball linebacker, Georgia's Nakobe Dean, or starting to inject some youth into their aging offensive line group. To that end, Texas A&M guard Kenyon Green is one player other teams have connected to Dallas. Now, we'll get to that golden nugget in a bit here, but let's stick with Kayvon Thibodeau. Do you believe or not believe the rumors on the Cowboys trading up for the Oregon pass rusher? Now, let me know your answers in the chat. And while you do that, and before I give you mine, let me talk to you about our friends over at freemanmazda.net, because Primetime, as always, brought to you by this family-owned business for over 65 years. freemanmazda.net presents the Mazda CX-9 Touring. It starts at $39,050. It's got Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, third row seating, perfect for families, adaptive cruise control, all-wheel drive, and the feature of rain sensing wipers. You can check out the Mazda CX-9 and a wide range of new Mazda vehicles over at freemanmazda.net, where you will get A-plus customer service by a family-owned business for over 65 years. Again, that's freemanmazda.net. And when you go into the website, listen to me. Check out the carbon version of the CX-9. It's truly something. Let's see some of your answers. Lumen believes it. Shogun doesn't believe it. And I would say that maybe the majority of answers are, not believing it. Samuel also goes with not. Toxic Tom said, hell no, I don't believe it. That would be they're trying to get better. Two good picks, at least. Day 3 says Joey Vela. Let's see. But some people are buying this storyline. Lumen goes with believe. Let's see. Kenneth Fraser as well. This one is the one that I was missing. So I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not buying this. Like, it might be the intention of the Cowboys, but I don't see how it becomes a realistic expectation for Dallas for Kayvon Thibodeau to drop just enough for it to become a realistic trade-up scenario for Dallas. Because if you're picking all the way down at 24th, in my opinion, you're likely to be in range until Kayvon Thibodeau drops about 10 spots before you. So maybe we're talking about Kayvon making it out of the top 15, or maybe say the top 12. But here's my problem with this. You would need to convince me of two things. Number one would be of Kayvon falling in the first place. The Lions at 2 need an edge rusher. The Texans need a little bit of everything. I'm guessing they will go with an offensive tackle at 3rd, but they could very well opt for the edge rusher if they believe him to be the best player at the moment. The Jets are a little bit of a wild card. but it similarly to the Texans seems to fall into either offensive tackle or edge rusher. And if they opt for a defensive end or a pass rusher, then Kayvon Thibodeaux might be the guy. The Panthers at 6, also in play for an edge. The Giants, the Falcons, the Seahawks, then the Jets pick again. I just don't see a scenario in which Kayvon drops enough for the Cowboys to truly be in a position to trade up. Because even then, like even if you're talking about the 14th overall pick, I would say that the Cowboys would need to drop the 24th pick plus their second rounder because it's a big jump to get Kayvon. And forget about the 5th rounders. They're not going to get you anything realistically other than maybe sweeten the deal if someone else is offering them the exact same deal. You would have to convince me that Kayvon is going to drop. And I don't think that he drops that far if he does drop. And then you would have to convince me that the Cowboys are willing to part ways from the 24th pick and the 56th pick. I don't see how the Cowboys find a scenario on Thursday that puts them in a position to land who's considered to be by many a top 3 pass rusher in this draft. I don't see it. I don't see it. Eminem says would rather trade back this year, and the reports from this morning are that basically most teams in the NFL feel the same way because teams do not seem to be in love with this year's draft class. And we have said that again and again regarding the quarterbacks, but it seems to be true for the entire class. And the reports earlier today were about that. Were about NFL teams aiming and seeking trade downs instead of trading up. I would assume that that's not going to change on the back end of the first round. Joe says, do not forget that the Eagles have 3 first-round picks and they need defensive players. If anything, says Asian Persuasion, you trade back if the guys you want aren't there. Yeah, that's the most likely scenario in which you trade down, but also that's likely the scenario in which you don't get plenty in return when you're trading down because you got wiped out. That's the scenario in which you get the least compensation, I would say. Eagles only have 2 first-round picks now, says Tommy915. Oh, actually, that is true. They had 3, then they made the trade with New Orleans Saints, and now they're sitting with 2 picks in the mid-first round. We'll get to them, to their picks in a few moments here on the show because I put together a mock draft. I don't see the Cowboys moving up to get Kayvon. I'm sorry if you were expecting that. I really do not see it happening. Would I love it? Yeah, likely I would. You're getting a top-tier player. And maybe if you... Okay, so here's another question for you guys. Would you give up 24th overall and 56th overall? And I'm just going to throw out a random number out there for the 12th overall pick to land Kayvon Thibodeaux. If it cost you the 24th and the 56th pick, would you pull the trigger on that trade to get Kayvon specifically? 24th and 56th. Jose Lozano says, yeah, I would. John goes with a no. Toxic Tom says, Mo, welcome to Dallas. We don't have nice things. Get used to it. Toxic Tom says, nah. Joey, no. Kenneth Fraser says, no, definitely not. I'm guessing that the fire emoji from Shogun is a yes. Elio Varela says, I wouldn't. I'd rather get 2 linemen, says Joey. It's a tough one. I'm a little bit on the fence about it. I'm thinking that I would probably do. I would probably be okay pulling the trigger on that sort of trade. Sending the 24th pick and the 56th pick, I think to me, Kayvon is a top 5 draft prospect. And maybe that's why I would be for it. I would be for that move. Now, Big says trade back. Listen, you guys know my stance on this. You guys know that I agree. The more picks, the better. And that's why you always want to trade down. But also, not that easy. And I'm guessing that the Cowboys will not be. That's my gut feeling. And tomorrow night, we will talk more about gut feelings. That Dallas will not be in a position to move back and get the compensation that maybe fans are dreaming about. I just don't see that scenario. We should get Debo, says Young Star. That's another move that I don't think will come to fruition. Anyways, I put together a mock draft, ladies and gentlemen. I did it for adcsports.com/Dallas. You can check it out. It's one of my articles in Spanish that I put together every Friday. And this time around, I put out an additional Cowboys en Español article because every year I put together my very own mock draft. Now, this is a combination of what we have been expecting for months now, based on multiple reports, based on, a team's preference, scheme fits, and also a little bit of what I would do in the shoes of multiple of these teams. So, for example, the quarterback picks. I had Desmond Ridder as the first quarterback taken off the board because, to me, he's QB1. Even though, of course, I didn't go to a very deep evaluation of the quarterbacks. But if you look at their traits, I would rather have Desmond Ridder in certain scenarios in this year's NFL draft. Now, I know that when I share the mock draft with you in just a few seconds, your eyes will immediately look for the number 24 just to figure out who the Cowboys picked in this particular mock draft 3 days removed from the NFL draft. So let's start there. I had the Cowboys taking Kenyon Green from Texas A&M. I know that some of you are thinking of reaching back into your chair, throwing your hands up to your mouth and saying, boring. But I do think this is the most likely pick for Dallas at this point. Now, a little bit of context. Let's put it into context. And let me know what you guys think about the pick. Grade the pick in the chat if you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter. And by the way, hit the like button. If you're watching live, hit the like button. Every like allows us to put this show in front of more Cowboys fans as we continue to grow the ADC Sports Dallas community. So I had basically all of the wide receivers gone by the time the Cowboys picked, which kind of hurt because I was hoping for Treylon Burks between you and I. He went to the Packers at 22nd, which is a pick that I'm not entirely sure about because Matt LaFleur has talked about wide receiver, and when he has done so, he has mentioned speed. And in Burks, you're not really getting speed. But still, I'm high on Treylon Burks, which is why I drafted him with the Packers at 22. So the wide receivers were pretty much gone, unless you wanted to reach for Sky Moore, Dotson from Penn State, or any of those guys, maybe even George Pickens. Sian Johnson was taken with the 21st pick. And by the way, someone said here, John said Sian Johnson instead. Although that's a very fair debate, in this particular case, he was taken off the board. He was taken at 21st. And by the way, I forgot to go back to this, but I know that we stuck with the Kayvon Thibodeau bit of things with Albert Breer. But I think that final nugget at the end is even more important. Texas A&M guard Kenyon Green is one player other teams have connected to Dallas. I thought that was important because the Sian Johnson-Kenyon Green debate has been huge among Cowboys Nation. Linderbaum was off the board. I don't think that the Cowboys will take Linderbaum even if he's there. Let's see what else is important on this one. Devin Lloyd was taken at 17th, which is a fit that I would love. Dane Brugler mentioned that Kenneth Murray, that Devin Lloyd is a better version than Kenneth Murray, and why not have both? The Chargers still need some help at linebacker. Now, plenty of you, I believe, will notice that the Cowboys passed on Jordan Davis. I passed on Jordan Davis picking for the Cowboys in this mock draft. I realize that I'm going to catch a lot of heat for this. But I believe that this is what the Cowboys would do. And also, I don't think it's that outrageous to pass on Jordan Davis. Let's see some of your comments here. I will tell you why in a few moments. If he is BPA, that is an A, says Michael. A+ for stick up kid. Craig does not like it. Tommy goes with a B. Lumen says yes. Big goes with A. Chris says Washington like Drake London. Cannonball, C+. So mixed feelings here on the show. Mixed feelings. And Nakobe Dean was also taken at 31st. So I think those might be like the most controversial of them. The fact that Jordan Davis was still on the board and Nakobe Dean was also on the board. Kenneth Frazier goes with the D. Listen, I would prepare for this scenario. Here's why. Jordan Davis is a very good prospect. We know that there are some question marks surrounding him. I think he's not that big of a steal at 24th. I think he might be one of the best players available, but I also think it's not nearly as outrageous as many would say if you take Kenyon Green over Jordan Davis in this scenario. And I actually think that Brugler has Davis ranked as the 24th best overall prospect. So you might be looking at the range for Jordan Davis, which we have seen from the top 12 to even late in the first round. And I also think regarding what the Cowboys could do, this is a team that's not afraid to draft interior offensive linemen at any point of the NFL draft. They have done so before. I don't doubt that they would do it again. And also, they are a team that has not put that much weight with nose tackles and one techniques. And with Jordan Davis, what you're getting is a nose tackle. I love Jordan Davis. Do not get me wrong. But also, I think this would fit pretty much with what we have seen from the Cowboys. Carla says, Kenyon Green B+. Asian Persuasion says, they want A+. Green starts day one easily. And that is a big thing as well. I think that the Cowboys think of themselves as contenders. Now, we will argue whether that's the case or not on a later date, maybe. But they were a 12-win team, last year. I think they consider themselves the favorite to take the division. And I think that they would see Kenyon Green as a surefire starter on the offensive line. And yes, I believe the Cowboys would value more a starting left guard than they would Jordan Davis. It's a good debate, though. It's a good debate. Now, Toxic Tom with the laughing emoji, contender, asking, that's fair. We'll have that debate on another date. I'm not sure that I would use that label anyways right now. But if you ask me how do the Cowboys look at themselves in this offseason, I would likely say contenders, yes. What is up, Dadia? Thank you for joining the show. He'll miss more games than Tyron Smith. Well, some people are concerned about the Kenyon Green injury. I'm not sure how big of a concern it will be. Where is Lloyd, asks Michael. Lloyd went with the 17th pick to the Chargers. By the way, some interesting picks here that I wanted to share before we get out of here. The New York Giants taking Derek Stingley as the first cornerback in the draft. Then you have Kyle Hamilton at 11th. I know that Toxic Tom will hate this one because he dreams of Kyle Hamilton. So him going to a divisional rival will not be something that Cowboys Nation will like. But Hamilton, the 11th pick seems to be the floor to me for Kyle Hamilton because he fits what Ron Rivera wants on his defense to perfection. He's that Buffalo nickel position that Rivera has found for that perfect player to command such a position. And I think that Hamilton not only can deal with that role, he can take it to the next level. He can take the Buffalo nickel position on Ron Rivera's defense and then evolve it into a huge new role with even more assignments. I think that Hamilton is the guy to do that. George Kalafdis at 18th. I don't think that the Saints stay put when it's all said and done. But in this scenario, they got a quarterback, Desmond Ridder, the first off the board, and Chris Olave at 19th. I had Trevor Penning in the top 15, which I wouldn't be surprised if it happened. Tackles always go at a premium, and I can see Penning not even being on the Cowboys' radar near the 24th overall pick. And then Kenny Pickett closed things off for the Lions with the 32nd overall pick. My worry is that the Eagles draft Davis, says Michael. I would not enjoy that most, says Toxic Tom, talking about Kyle Hamilton there. I know that it's not the sexiest of picks. I know it. But Kenyon Green, if you ask me, 3 days away from the NFL draft, will he be the pick for Dallas? Yes, I think Kenyon Green will be. I mean, of course, it's a widely unpredictable draft. Every draft is, but this one is even more so. So we will not know until Thursday night, and I'm excited about that. But anyways, before I leave you tonight, and I wanted to give you some extra time so you can get ready for the Maps game, just do me a favor and drop your score prediction for Game 4, because it's Game 4. The series is tied. No, excuse me, it's Game 5, but I wrote the comment mistakenly. Let me correct that real quick. Game 5, drop your score prediction for Game 5 between the Mavericks and the Jazz. The series is tied at 2. It's back in Dallas. Luka is coming from a 30-point performance. My score prediction, 112-107. Give me the Maps. I'm going with a high-scoring game on this one. Kenneth Fraser says, have a great night. Thank you, Kenneth. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Tommy915 says 101-92, 112 for Joey, 19 Dallas. Lumen going with the tied win. Maps cover, Mo. All that matters. Hey, I took the -3, Toxic Tom, so I appreciate that. Give me the Mavericks covering as well. Primetime, as always, brought to you by FreemanMazda.net. Thank you guys for tuning in. I will see you tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Central here on Dallas On Demand Sports Talk Network. Have a great Monday night, and I will see you tomorrow. Thank you.